All right, guys. Our next guest is coming off an absolutely soul-crushing knockout over Corey Anderson, and now he takes on Volkan Oezdemir as the incredible stacked UFC 214 for the chance to face the winner of John Jones and Daniel Cormier. He is the always exciting poster boy himself, Jimi Manuwa. Jimmy, welcome to Submission Radio. How are you today?
How you doing, guys? Thanks for having me.
The pleasure's ours, and thanks for jumping on so late at night. We know you just finished up watching the first leg of the Conor McGregor Mayweather press conference, so we got to ask you, what was your thought on it? Because I don't know, a lot of people are like, what is this supposed to be? Some kind of debate? Why are these guys doing speeches and not doing a proper press conference? What did you think of it?
Man, I don't give a shit, man. It was exciting for me. I was glued to my screen, and you know what? McGregor's looking really good, man, and he's looking really good.
I think he looked great in the suit. When you say he's looking good, you mean good on the mic, or are you saying you feel like he's got a good chance in this one?
I mean, I mean, he's looking really good as in confident, and he looks a lot bigger than Floyd, and you know, I think he could shock the world, man.
I mean, you're obviously an amazing boxer yourself. If Conor McGregor was to find a way to beat Mayweather, how do you think he could get it done?
Like he said, inside the first 4 rounds. I think the fight goes two ways. I think either McGregor wins in the first half of the fight, or maybe Floyd wins on points. I can't see Floyd knocking Conor out. I think Conor's got a strong chin to be able to take his punches and stuff, and you know, he's been working a lot on his cardio and everything. So I think if Conor wins, it's going to be a knockout in the first half, and if Floyd wins, it's going to be in points in the second half.
All right, well, it's going to be interesting to see. Let's talk about you, Jimmy. We were perusing your Instagram the other day, and we saw that somebody seemingly invited you to a barbecue, and instead, you and Alexander, you guys were digging ditches. What's going on? Who's lying to you about barbecues, and why are you guys digging ditches?
No, it's actually Alex's fiance who made us plant a tree in his garden and everything. So we did that after we had the barbecue. So yeah, but it was it's the first tree I've ever planted. So it was fun. It was fun.
Yeah.
Did a lot of digging in the heat and everything. So it was good.
We thought you were digging the ditch for Daniel Cormier, perhaps. We didn't know what was going on.
Well, you know, the ditch is the Cormier can fit in that ditch as well. It's a nice round ditch for his round body, so he can fit in it. And then we took about 30 minutes to dig it as well. So I got one waiting for him as well.
Oh, wow.
I got one waiting for Oezdemir as well. So you know, I got ditches everywhere for everyone.
Ditches for the whole light heavyweight division, courtesy of Jimi Manuwa. I'm just curious, you know, you've got this massive fight coming up, UFC 14. Obviously, you're hard in training camp. It's really late over there in where you are in Stockholm. How do you blow off steam? How does Jimi Manuwa sort of take a load off, have a bit of fun in between training? Is Alexander Gustafsson involved by any chance in sort of your post-training hang sessions?
Yeah, always. We always go out and eat and everything. Stockholm's a really beautiful city, so there's lots of places to enjoy and relax. It's a really relaxed city as well. So, you know, we're making the most of it and everything. I just come from my mate's restaurant. We was there chilling out, and that's it. It's now 12 at night. So I'm just on my way back to my hotel to go and get my head down.
Great, and we really appreciate your time, Jimmy. I mean, speaking of Daniel Cormier and your fight, I mean, you and Daniel, you guys have had a bit of a rivalry, a bit of a heated rivalry, and then we saw you have the matchup with Volkan, which was announced for UFC 214. What was your reaction? I mean, for a moment there, did you think you were actually going to fight DC at UFC 214?
Yeah, I was meant to be fighting Cormier, but then John Jones kind of came back in the picture, and I understood. I understood the order of things and everything. It's a much bigger fight for UFC. They've got to make their money and shit. Plus, Cormier knows my fight's a bit too dangerous for him, and that. And you know, he'd rather lose against Jones than lose against me. You know, so he made the decision to fight John Jones and that. But you know, I've got no problem with it because I know what's coming to me, and that's the belt. And I know what's coming. Whether I have to beat Cormier or whether I have to beat Jones, it makes no difference to me. They're bodies to me, you know. So at the end of the day, it's just a fight, and I've got to beat another opponent, and that's it.
I'm wondering how much you pay attention to this, Jimmy, and sort of how you felt about Cormier recently. He was on the MMA Hour, and he said that he admitted that he was offered a fight with you at UFC 214, but he turned it down because he wanted Jones instead. But he sort of felt that you had no chance. Do you think he's sort of underestimating your abilities in that sense?
He has to say that. He has to say that. He's a boring individual, just trying to make himself look interesting and trash talk and everything. Everyone can see he's not a trash talker and everything. So to me, what he says makes no difference to me. I don't even listen to what he says. His voice, his whole being jars the fuck out of me and everything. I hate listening to him talking and shit. So, and he likes to talk a lot. So, you know, it makes no difference to me what he says.
We saw an interview with you from a while back where you said you never really have any animosity towards your opponents and that it's all business. Is that still the case with the DC, or has this kind of crossed the line and become a little bit personal for you?
No, it's not personal to me. He hasn't said anything personal. It's just trash talk, which he thinks he's good at. But it just sounds corny to me, what he says. So as long as he doesn't get personal to me, it makes no difference to me. Because all he does is fight, trash talk, and then fight, and then hug his opponent after. That's all he does.
If you guys were to fight, do you think there'd be a hug afterwards?
It depends. It depends on the build-up and how he is. I'm respectful to all my opponents. It's business to me. You know, we've got to fight, and there's no problem after. But it depends on how he is. If he trash talks and everything, I'll see him on site. I'll tell shit on site when I see him, you know. So it depends on him. I've got no problem with anyone.
Sure. I mean, you're in an interesting position because you're on the UFC 214 card.
And plus to me, I don't have to trash talk to make myself interesting. My fighting is exciting for the fans already. I've got so many knockouts on my record. Everything. Fans want to see me. Fans don't want to see boring fighters like him and shit. So he has to make himself look interesting because his fighting is not interesting at all. So that's probably why I trash talk so much.
And you're in an interesting position because you're on UFC 214, and people are still looking at it as they're not sure whether or not John Jones will 100% fight or not. We've seen him pull out before for one reason or another. How do you feel about that? Because, you know, you're getting ready to fight Volkan. If John Jones does fall out, is it a strange feeling knowing that, you know, you'd be fighting DC? Do you have to sort of run in training camp with both men in mind just in case John Jones doesn't end up fighting?
Yeah, no, DC's not even on my radar right now. Volkan is fully on my radar. He's the target right now. So I'm not even until the UFC says otherwise. I'm not focused on DC. But it doesn't matter who I fight on there. I'll be ready for everyone. We train just because Volkan's a striker or whatever. It's not just striking we do. I'm actually doing more wrestling than striking and that. I'm just sharpening up my striking skills as always. So I'm doing the same training camp as I would do for anyone, you know?
Sure. And I mean, we saw last time when DC was weighing in, there was some controversy around that. There was a towel there. People felt like he used the towel to make weight. If something similar does happen and he isn't able to fight, would you be interested in fighting John Jones over Volkan if the opportunity presented itself for 214?
Yeah, 100%. Who wouldn't want to fight the best fighter of all time? John Jones is a brilliant fighter, and I'd love to fight him. I'd love to test my skills against him and everything, and 100%. And I'll be saving the card for not the first time, you know. So I'm always one to never shy away from a fight, and I'll be ready. I'll be ready. But right now, my focus is fully on Oezdemir.
Right, so let's talk about Volkan as a fighter. He likes to obviously strike much like you. You know, you got a nice KO win over Misha Serkinov. You mentioned you're working on your wrestling, though. Are you impressed by him? Are you impressed with what he's been able to do in the UFC so far?
Volkan will shoot for the takedown.
Talk a little bit about your thinking behind that. You believe that in the fight, he won't be looking to strike with you whatsoever?
Everybody shoots for the takedown when they fight me. Everybody does. Or they get knocked out.
He kind of sort of came out of nowhere a little bit like a dark horse in the division, Jimmy. Did you know much about him prior to his matchup being announced?
Yeah, I always keep an eye on the fighters in my division coming up, because the division is so that anyone can have a couple of good wins and break through, you know. So, but me, I put my work in in the top 15. I put my work in the top 10, and now I'm ranked number 2. So, you know, I know that I put my work in. Like he's had two fights against top 10 now, and he's ranked number 4 or 5, and he's trying to make a name for himself. But this time, he's bitten off more than he can chew and everything, and he will be sleeping.
He said in an interview recently that he's very confident that he'll be able to knock you out in the first round. Are you surprised at how quickly he expects to get the win over you? And do you buy into it? Do you think he's maybe saying something that may not really end up being true? Because you say you believe he'll be shooting for the takedown.
He has to say that. He has to say that. I think I think he has to say that. He's not going to say he thinks he's going to lose. He has to lie to himself and make himself feel confident and make himself feel good and try and believe that. But the reality is that he's going to be sleeping. He's not going to go past round 2 either.
Assuming all does go well and you do beat Volkan, what's your plan? Because you're in an interesting position. UFC 214 will obviously have DC and Jones in the main event. Are you planning to sort of quickly get out of the back and possibly sit up the front, watch the main event, and maybe even challenge the winner of the fight just to make sure you're in there? Is that? Have you thought about the logistics of possibly doing something like that?
Yeah, I definitely want to see the main event. There's other good fights as well before the.
Yeah, there's some great fights. There's other type of fights. Yeah.
Cowboy and Robbie Lawler's on, and Wood. I'm not sure about Woodley and what's his name?
Maweather.
I think that might be a boring fight. Yeah. Who else is on there?
You got Chris Cyborg.
What's the other title fight on there?
Chris Cyborg, another knockout artist, will be great to watch.
I'm not so pumped about that one either. So,
why not? Why not? She goes and destroys people. You're not a big fan of Cyborg's fights.
Yeah, I am, but I don't know the girl she's fighting.
Right.
The thing. If it was against who's the champion in her division?
Jermaine Darandami. Well, the division's new, the champion's Jermaine Darandami, but no longer.
Yeah, even if it was against Holly Holm or one of the big names, then maybe I'd be interested about it. But
sure.
I don't know the girl she's fighting.
Sure.
But yeah, I'm not too pumped about that one. I like the Robbie Lawler and Cowboy fight and the main event. And obviously my fight, I'll be looking to steal the show anyway and get another bonus, some pocket money for some Gucci.
For sure. That's we can't wait to see that fight. We really appreciate time. We're going to let you go in just a moment. I just want to quickly, since we were talking about boxing at the start of the interview, I just want to quickly touch on this potential David Haye fight that you and Haye are both interested in. I mean, you've said that Dana is also interested in it. Where are we at with this fight? If you do win at UFC 214, is there a chance that while DC or John Jones take a break, we may be seeing you taking on David in a potential boxing match?
Exactly. The reason why David's not ready till the end of the year, the beginning of next year as well. So I'm cracking on with my career, and I'm going to get another win, maybe even fight for the title before the David Haye fight. Depends how everything plays out. Maybe I fight for the title at the end of the year or something, and then go for David Haye after that. But that's definitely something we're working on and we're interested in, and both parties are interested in it. And we're going to try and make that happen as well in London at the O2, and for the English and all the fans that are across the world.
Wow, that'd be an amazing card right there in the O2 Arena. I'm just curious because it's sort of, we're in this time now where in the past the UFC wouldn't let their fighters go into boxing, and now obviously with this Conor McGregor Floyd Maweather fight, it's opened up the doors. Why do you think Dana White, you know, you've said that he's interested, why do you think he's allowing you to sort of do this, and he's softened up his stance, and you know this might even happen?
Mate, it's all thanks to my it's all thanks to my friend Conor McGregor. You know, he's opened up the doors for these sort of things, you know, and it's a great thing for us athletes to be able to follow in his footsteps and make these things happen. It shows that anything can happen as long as everyone makes it happen, you know. So David Haye wants it, I want it, Dana wants it, and everything. So it can happen.
I mean, it would be an amazing boxing match. Just quickly on that, if you guys did get in there and had the match, how do you see yourself beating Haye? Is there a certain round? Is there a certain way that you believe you'd beat him? Have you thought about the boxing match much? I mean, it'd be a huge event for all the fans over in Europe and all over the world.
David Haye's not got a chin, yeah? David Haye's a good boxer. He was a good boxer, but now he's too into his good lifestyle and looking good and stuff. He's not ready for a war and everything. I've been active, I've been in the trenches, and I'm an absolute dog when it comes to fighting and everything, especially with 10-ounce gloves. He's not going to be ready for a war. I'm going to drag him into... He's going to be trying to play the looking good game and slipping and ducking and weaving and everything. I want to put it right on him, meet him in the centre, and have a shootout with him and everything, and his chin's not going to hold up.
Wow. You're in an amazing position, Jimmy. You got obviously so many fights on the card. You got Volkan, you've got potentially John Jones or DC, and then even David Haye somewhere on the horizon. As we let you go, circling back to your fight against Volkan at UFC 214, the man that you're most focused on, how do you see yourself getting done? What is the official prediction? How are you beating Volkan Oezdemir at UFC 214 to claim the next title shot, Jimmy?
Volkan will not get out of... He'll be lucky to get out of round 1. If he does get out of round 1, he's going to get finished before round 2 finishes. And that same way I always do it. I'm gonna look for the knockout, and I'm gonna take the knockout when it comes.
And the most important question: you win that fight, you get the bonus. You mentioned Gucci before. What kind of Gucci apparel are you buying? If you could buy one Gucci item, what's on the list for Jimi Manuwa?
Mate, there's Gucci's got a new 2017 line, 2018 line come out, and I will be visiting there. I will be visiting the store and then speaking to my personal assistant there straight after the fight. You know, I might even take a trip out there in Anaheim as well, just to kill some time.
Beautiful. Well, we can't wait to see what you get. And of course, if this David Haye boxing match comes together, Gucci just seems like a logical sponsor for Jimi Manuwa. Guys, make sure to follow Jimmy on Twitter at PosterBoyGM. Jimmy, we appreciate your time as always. Thank you so much for staying up late to speak to Submission Radio. We really appreciate it.
No problem, guys. Thanks for having me, and good luck with the show.